Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Paris Procopis Show. I am Paris Procopis, and you're not. But hey, this is a very special edition of the Paris Procopis Show. Usually, my show is very in tune with the political world, but I also talk about things like technology and our changing world and pop culture and things like that. And tonight, I'm taking a completely different direction because this is a very non-political show, but it's a show kind of talking a little bit about survival and triumph and everything like this. And I want to set the groundwork a little bit for my special guest tonight. And I want to start out a little bit. I'm going to be having a conversation with actually one of the young survivors of the Waukesha Parade Attack back last November. But I want to begin this, just kind of give you some kind of statistics over here. We're looking, so this is back in November 21st, and it was weird that day. I was just driving around, and suddenly I get a random text message from one of my daughters. And she says to me, "Dad, I'm at home. I'm at Jimmy's house and I'm okay." I'm like, "What? You're okay?" So naturally, I call her right away and say, "What do you mean you're okay?" And she told me that somebody drove through the parade. She and her boyfriend were on her way there to go meet her boyfriend's father, who was at a relative's restaurant right on the parade route. And so it was like, oh, I didn't hear anything about this. And this is before it hit the media airwaves. Now, and forgive the long intro here, but I just got to set the stage here. So kind of an emotional thing when I called a friend of mine who's a journalist, and I asked her about the what was going on. And she said she's writing up an article on it. It'll be released soon. And the rest is history, so to speak. And that's about as close as I got to the parade. And then later that night, I get a message from a friend of mine, and her granddaughter was actually one of the victims, one of the young dancers for the little dance club. So she was in there. So now suddenly I know someone who's directly connected with the parade. So now I saw someone who actually saw it all happen, someone who was a victim in the parade and everything like that. Now fast forward to about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and I'm at a local pet store, and I have I always pride myself on Odie, and I talk about my prized border collie, and I'm always getting, going across getting dog food and treats and whatever. Well, I was in there getting something, and I gave them my rewards number. This woman looked vaguely familiar, but I just figured I'd seen her before in the store. And suddenly, I gave her my rewards number, and she looked it up, and my name shows up in the register. She goes, "That is you. How have you been?" Kind of attitude, like, "How have you been all these years?" And I'm like, I wasn't quite sure where to place her. And she said, "Well, we used to work together at Kinko's." And this was like a gazillion years ago. I hate to age myself, but it was like would have been like 1994, 1995-ish. And then she mentioned that she was helping out from time to time after her son's accident or whatever. And I'm like, mentioned that her son was in the hospital. Her son was there. And then she proceeded to tell me that he was one of the teenagers who was injured, who was run over, not just injured, he was run over by this vehicle. And immediately everything changed. It was just kind of like, now you're like right there. And for lack of a better word, I was speechless. And that's very difficult for me to be speechless in this day and age. So I started having this conversation with this young man, and I saw this. They always say the eyes are the gateway to the soul. And in his eyes, I could see this just amazing personality, this happy guy. Here he is having gone through this tragic situation, and he seems to be moving forward and progressing very well. And I said, I asked him, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And then he proceeded to show me his scar. He lifted up his shirt, and we've got pictures, so we'll show you some later. And this was, and I really apologize for a long introduction. And this, once again, here you have the scar from his waistline all the way up to his bottom of his chest. And I was just like, wow, this young man has been through a lot. But before I invite him onto the show here, I want to explain something. Okay, there were a lot of victims in this car. The number of injured was about 62. 6 people lost their lives. And so the ranges of those who lost their life from 8 to 81, but victims were all over the place age-wise. This does not in any way demean what everybody has gone through. This is just one story out of 62 stories. And quite honestly, one story out of hundreds of stories, because there were a lot of people there who saw this happen. And there's some things in life you just can't unsee. So this is not diminishing. If I get in contact with anyone else, I will have them on the show. This is just one story out of many. And it's an amazing story. And now, without further ado, I'd like to invite Tyler Pudleiner onto the show. Hello, Tyler. Welcome.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, there we go. Okay, for a second I couldn't hear you. So now we can hear you there.
How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Tyler, we've had a couple of quick conversations. One a little bit longer. I'd like you to first of all, tell the folks, how are you doing? This was November 21st, and now we are at March the 6th. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been a battle these past couple months, but we're just trying to battle and fight everything that's come along with it. There are some mental demons and things like that, and it's been very good though to overcome the physical battles and just getting better in the end, improving.
Okay, so take me back, and we just discussed ahead of time that it was okay to ask you some questions because I didn't want, some things are more difficult than others, and having never gone through anything, you're going through something that many of us will never go through. Take us back to that day. What do you remember, or what do you?
The funniest part is I was watching the Packer game at home, and I didn't want to leave because the Packers were on, and I was watching the game. But I had gotten ready, went to school, got my instrument all set up, and we got on the bus with our instruments. Headed
What
downtown
instrument?
after. I play the tenor saxophone.
Okay.
And we had got downtown, arrived, and we were in the staging area, setting up and kind of just trying to stay warm with how windy it was. Very windy and cold day. But I had gotten ready, and we were all staged up, and we started walking down White Rock. And as we made the corner, I remember parade starting, went down past Barstow. And that's kind of basically the last part I remember. It's kind of weird how my mind just blocks crossing over the street, crossing that street. And then I do remember getting hit about, I'd say 500 feet in past that street corner. And I've compared it to like getting hit on the football field, but I mean, it was obviously a little bit more worse than that. And the body I didn't lose consciousness, but the body does go into shock with all the adrenaline and everything in that moment. And the next thing I remember is the paramedics and mom coming to my side, and being there. That's the next thing I quote unquote woke up to. And it was just obviously crazy from there. It was a crazy night.
I imagine it was more than just a night.
Yeah.
What was the extent of your injuries, and where were you in the whole parade lineup where the vehicle was and stuff like that?
So the South Band, I do believe we were like 2 spots from the last entry. if I do remember correctly. And I was on the left-hand side of the parade setup in our lineup, in our order. And I mean, the extent of my injuries. So basically, they were all internal, or the biggest ones. Basically, where the small intestine meets the stomach, the doctor said that's basically what, like a bendy straw. When you take a bendy straw and it rolled up together, that's kind of what my intestine in the stomach did. Small
Mhm.
intestine in the stomach, and then the large intestine was also damaged. I cut through 3 out of the 4 surrounding layers around the large intestine, so cutting through the fourth obviously would have been a lot more serious, but they were still serious injuries in the end. Um, then I had teeth damage. I broke 3 teeth, chipped 2, and had some nerve damage on 1, and then just kind of some scrapes and battle wounds that way on my face that obviously have cleaned up really nicely. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent, and went straight into surgery once we got to the hospital, and yeah.
How long were you in surgery?
So I do believe I arrived in surgery around 7:30ish. They took me down, and by I'd say about 9:30, I was in the room for the night. They actually kept me sedated for 18 hours into Monday afternoon. When I woke up, they kept me on the vent overnight just to make sure everything was all right, and then they cleaned it out on Monday, and they took me back down Monday and cleaned it all out, and then closed me up Monday. So I was technically, wide open for close to 18 hours. But can't thank my surgeon enough and all the doctors there enough for putting me back together pretty much.
Mhm. Well, therein lies a silver lining, medical technology in the midst of COVID and everything else going on in the world. And here they, I mean, because there were a lot of people for whatever reason, not doing treatments or, because doctors were so focused on COVID, you got taken care of immediately and everything else. And that is huge.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, I mean, it was, I can't describe it. It was just crazy that night. A lot of chaos. I mean, but to the local fire departments and first responders, I mean, they were on top of their game and they made it work somehow. I still don't know how, but they did one heck of a job. And obviously the hospitals were all ready. Um, and yeah, it's awesome how they took some positive aspects out of that negative situation and really did a good job with it.
Yeah, and I like looking for a silver lining in everything. And you're definitely your attitude is a silver lining and all that. Just the way you talk about this, you know, like I say, oh, I cut myself shaving and I had to put a band-aid on. You're talking about this so simply, but it wasn't that simple, obviously. What are some of the silver linings that you came up with? You talked with a few when we were having a conversation a couple days ago, but some of the things you had mentioned, not just the first responders, it took a second for them to get there, but you mentioned other people getting involved.
Yeah, I mean, I've met a man that when they were taking us on they were taking me on the stretcher with my mother walking by me, and they had staged us down a couple blocks to the east, I do believe, or the west, excuse me, down on Clinton, and we are going back and forth from there to Barstow, and they were staging us down. And when we were on Clinton, I met a new friend, close friend now named Dale, and Mr. Matthews has been very helpful through my process and really encouraging through my recovery. And he sat with us for probably close to, I'd say, half an hour or so, maybe even an hour that night before they got us into the ambulance. And his support was it's it's amazing what he's done. As Mom said, she wouldn't have really known what to do without him there, and how much he helped us. And I'm very thankful that I got to meet him, and now that we've become very close friends out of it, it's something that I'll cherish out of the, obviously, as you said, crazy night. But it's he's a good friend now to have, and can't thank him enough for what he's done to help me through this process.
Yeah, it's almost like you lived through something together.
Yeah, I mean, he was almost a guardian angel, quote unquote, with how he helped everybody and being there. It was awesome to have him by my side, even though it was a very traumatic moment.
Now, remember, if you remember, I said I refuse to call you a victim because you're a survivor. You've overcome a lot. And have you met some of the other folks who were injured and everything during this process?
Yeah, as you said, it's kind of starting to set in that I'm actually a survivor now, and not, as you said, a victim. I'm a survivor, and that I'm stronger from coming back stronger from everything. I have been lucky enough to meet other families and survivors from the attack. We have connections. My mother's work was hit hard. One of her coworkers' nieces was in the extreme dance team, and she is making an
Mm.
awesome recovery and fighting her way back to the new normal. I've been lucky enough to meet the Sparks family. Unfortunately, they lost their son and brother, but it's been awesome to see how they've kind of come back and turned that positive energy after that negative in the world, and really come back stronger from that. It's been very cool to almost quote unquote have a new Waukesha family now, and Waukesha strong family, kind of that, select circle of people that are there to support each other and have gone through it, as you said, with each other. It's very special to have.
Oh yeah, and I imagine you're gonna be connected for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, it it's as I said, it's a new family. It doesn't just span from the survivors, but as I said, the people and the citizens that came out and helped, like Dale and his wife Vera and everybody like that. It's crazy to see how many people were there and have now just come together as one. It's very special.
Hmm. Well, and you definitely have a lot of support from the community as well, which is really great to see. And that's one thing I said early on when we talked. It's like I refuse to name the cause of this because quite honestly, it doesn't define you. It's a condition, and it's a condition that you were met with in life, but it doesn't define you. You know, you're not the guy who got hit by a car in a parade. There's more to you than that. So
Yeah.
what's Tyler's story? What is the world going to look like with you in it, and what do you plan on doing with your future, immediate future and distant future?
I mean, I'm just trying to, as I said, make a lot of positives and create a stronger community out of this bad deal. I mean, I've had a lot of goals come out of it. Maybe even potentially down the road, writing a book or something to help others cope with it. I've done a lot of community work, as I've said, with meeting other victims and kind of just helping everybody like that. I think the biggest thing, as I said, I want to do is just kind of keep working to keep the community together through different things. My mother and I and a local business owner and a community member are putting together an event. It's called a Day of Healing, just to bring people back downtown that maybe haven't been there yet or have been downtown, but just to bring us all together. And as I said, really keep that Waukesha Strong family together.
Day of Healing. Tell me about that. When's that going to be?
So that a Day of Healing will be March 26th at Martha Merrill's on Main Street in downtown Waukesha, the bookstore. We'll be bouncing from there to Burlap and Lace Marketplace, also on Main Street, kind of kitty corner from it. And raffle prizes are involved. We got chili for first responders. We want to invite first responders, doctors, other survivors, and different families that were affected, even citizens that were just there and witnessed it, and members of the community down, just to really bring that positive energy out of it and really emphasize that we are stronger than him and we are stronger than the situation, and that we're going to be a special family for a long time, as you said.
Awesome. That's good. And sometimes just bringing people out helps people cope. It helps you cope with it. It helps you and the other survivors who also are having to cope with everything. I mean, mentally, this has got to be uh, very difficult for you in that respect. Kind of a traumatic, traumatic situation, I suppose. When anybody who's been something so tragic, how's he? I mean, obviously, there's been a little bit of attention too. So how's that affected you?
I've always kind of been one to uh, try and be a popular guy. I mean, I've always liked it, but it's not something where I'm trying to be selfish about it and take it all in. I want to use that attention that I'm getting to really voice my love of the community to everybody and show that, as we're stronger. I've met a lot of people out of it, new people that I'm thankful to have now as a part of my life, and I've had old friends even before the parade that and family that have really that I've become even closer with through their support and love, towards me. And I appreciate it, and I just want to pass it along to the rest of the community.
Now I mean, I love how outspoken you are. You're very, and there, like I said, you had this. this spirit about you.
Yeah,
And
thank you. I'm only a little nervous, you know.
no, you're only a little nervous. It's not like I'm the Rush Limbaugh show where you have millions of users or whatever, or viewers, whatever. I'm just a little guy, but I just, for me, it's just another conduit to get a message out. Um, and I'm going to share some of the pictures that you shared with me, shared some photos. So I'm going to put these up. And are you able to see them?
Uh, I kind of got a delay on what I'm taking
Yeah.
in.
Yep. There'll be a window. There's a picture of you. There's a young lady on there with a man with a mask on his chin.
Yeah,
And there's
okay.
you with the
So I
thumbs up.
Yeah. So I had stated this earlier, that my mother's company was hit very hard, PDC out in Heartland. Um, she works with Ryan Conkey, and his niece was also involved in the parade. Justin Lynn is an extreme dancer. And their work as PDC, the company, has been very outgoing and supportive through this whole process towards both families. I can't appreciate them enough, for all they've done. But even though that mom and Ryan have worked together for a couple of years now, yeah, it's very special to see how much this has brought them closer together and the company and the community together. Um, as I said, it's something that not only had should not have gone through, but it's something that Jesselyn should have never gone through. Um, but just see how strong we're coming out of it. Yes, we're not the same kids anymore. We're going to be different, even though we might be different. We're going to be, going towards a new positive in life and really becoming great new people and improving and becoming stronger than we know.
And you've got to earn this. And in the sense of you're given a chance to do something, make it count.
Yeah. I mean, it's really something that Jessa had, how do I say it? Her injuries are probably worse than mine. And even though even though she's gone through that, she's doing one heck of a job and she's becoming stronger than I am, through it all. And as I said, it's grateful to have that support though from one employee to another, and the family is just going back and forth, and we're really getting through it together, family to family, and it's a special connection to have.
Yeah, it's nice to see, despite of the age difference or anything like that, because you're all going through. I mean, everything to the dancing grannies too, all the way in between. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
and they recently did a parade. I think it was forgot what parade it was, but they said they weren't going to let this keep them down.
I
And
do believe it was the Franklin parade that they went back to, but as you said, it's not something that didn't keep them down, and they're coming back from. I mean, they lost 2 to 3 members of their group, and there are 4 major groups that I do believe that were impacted: the South Band, Extreme Dance, the Blazers, and what would the Dancing Grannies would be the fourth one. Um,
yeah,
and it's incredible to see how these groups have come together and really become one as a community. And as I said, we got that special connection now, so it's awesome.
I'm showing another picture of you in front of a fire truck with looks like some of the first responders.
Yeah, so um, last weekend, my mother and I, we went out to all the fire stations in Waukesha, 1 through 4, actually, or 2 through 4, 5, excuse me. God, can't keep it straight. And then we went to Fire Station 1 on Tuesday night. But I got to meet the first responders. The big picture on top is me in Station 5. Those guys were the ones that actually took me out to the hospital. So it was awesome to meet them and promote the event and give them the invitation to come to a day of healing. But at the same time, going to Station 4 and Station 2 was the other one pictured. Um, and both other stations, all 5 really, it's amazing to see how they've accepted, us with open arms and just the job that they've done. I mean, they've been through a lot. They obviously saw a lot more than we did when we were lying in the road. And it's just awesome to see how much that we've all been through, that we're all coming together and overcoming it, as you said.
Bless your heart. I could see some people, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with us, but I could see some people wanting to just cower up in a corner and just sit and lick their wounds for a few more months and stuff like that. And you're just out there putting yourself out there, so that's great.
Yeah.
And like I said,
I
there's
mean,
nothing wrong with either way because everybody deals with trauma differently.
yeah, as I said, there's definitely some days that are harder than others, but the main thing is that you want to show that you're stronger and the community is stronger. Obviously, there's days where I might not want to get up or do anything, or just sit there and, as you said, lick the wounds and you know just do nothing. But I mean, that's not who we are as a community. That's not who I am. We're going to show them that we're stronger, and I think we've proven that we're going to become something special, and we are something special. But just we're overcoming a tragedy, and in a positive way and in a strong way.
Yep. Well, what's that old cliche? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah.
So now here's a picture with you and your mom, and once again, you're doing your thumbs up, and you got some gentleman standing next to you in front of, looks like a memorial or something. It says
Yeah. So
Waukesha Strong.
yeah. So we were lucky enough to go to the decommissioning of the memorial downtown. On the left, that's Alderman Don Brown, and I go to school with his son. On
Ah,
the right,
okay.
that's Waukesha Mayor Sean Riley. Both Don and Sean have become close friends, and closer friends through it all. And I can't thank them for their support. But that was very special to be able to go to the decommissioning of the temporary memorial that day downtown, and really become a part of the memorial as they're actually working right now. There's a committee working right now to create a permanent memorial. But that was very special to be there with Sean and Don to be part of that decommissioning.
Nice. There's a picture of you and your mom. There's
Yeah, on
mom
the top,
smiling.
that was December 2nd, I do believe. That was the Jerseys for Jackson Day. As I
Wow,
said,
that was really quick.
being a Jersey or excuse me, being a Waukesha Blazer and growing up playing for the Blazers, to be able to do that for Jackson and his family was an honor to have, and posted out on social media the hashtag Jerseys for Jackson that day, and that whole movement was amazing to see all that support.
What are the Blazers?
So the Waukesha Blazers are a select Ricky League to select team and Waukesha baseball team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, whoops. Going through here. Here you are, a picture of you and Leroy Butler.
Yeah. So first day that I was back at school since the parade, that was my first day back. I got to meet Leroy. He came to do his Butler versus bullying campaign at school, and it was the second time that I had met him. In the top right, you can see I got to meet him a first time at Pick and Save a couple summers back. But it was awesome to see him again, and I told him, how much of an inspiration he was, because obviously he grew up in a very tough state, and he's overcome a lot to become an NFL Hall of Famer, and it's just an honor to see him every time that I do. I got to tell him how about I started the Blue for Waukesha and Waukesha Strong Gear movement on court days to wear that, and just how I've overcome a lot, and I just want him to understand he's a true inspiration for what he's been through and taking his time out of his day to come to schools and support us.
Oh, great. All right. Wait, you were cutting out a second. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, okay, good. Yeah, I can still hear you. Okay, good. Now, now it might be the voices in my head. I don't know. But let's see. And you've got a group of kids baseball playing with baseball bats playing in looks like they're
Yeah,
handing out some trophies.
I was actually handing out bobbleheads. So I had started
Oh,
a uh, bobblehead project, and I got that Sunday beforehand. I got to meet a young boy and his mom that we've become close friends with through the counseling process, and just kind of, as I said, working with each other, both of our families to move through it. And Melissa's a great mom, and she's balancing a lot with her young son who was there and everything. But it was great to give Aiden some bobbleheads and really help. And then, as I said, on Tuesday, I got in connection with Mrs. Sparks and the Sparks family, and I was lucky enough to go to Tucker's practice with his team, Jackson's brother, and got to hand out some duplicate bobbleheads that I had of the Brewers. And I mean, as I said, that family's been through a lot that they shouldn't have had to gone through, but it was an honor to really at least help them somewhat and cheer Tucker up a little bit and his team to give them some bobbleheads. Obviously, that team was marching in the parade, and it's an unbelievable thing. But as I said, to create all the positives out of it and give them some bobbleheads was awesome. I was able to give Tucker a 2020 Ryan Braun bobblehead from when Braun had a game clinching home run in 2011 for the division, and I gave Mrs. Sparks and Mr. Sparks the 2020 dual Christian Yelich bobblehead set from the 50th anniversary because of all the work that Christian Yelich did with Jerseys for Jackson and promoting it. So I thought that'd be cool to really cheer them up and at least help them out that night. And I think that was a very special night.
Oh, great. I love it. And I just look back at this and my daughters, yeah, believe it or not, were Irish dancers. So, they've been through many uh, St. Patrick's Day parades and stuff like that. And I did some parades when I was younger too, but I was like, I just can't imagine. Every day you think you go to the parade, then you're going to go hang out with your friends or do whatever afterwards. And this was a whole different world for you guys. Now back here, you've got a picture you holding some looks like wrestling belts.
Yeah. That's another second family, Bruce City Wrestling, run by Frankie DeFalco. He's become a close friend of ours, and that was actually the first show that I got to go to in December after everything happened. And one of his wrestlers, Kurt Kruger, he's been a really close friend, Kurt Kruger Jr. He goes by Dysfunction in the ring, and he was nice enough to give me the tag team belts, him and Joey's tag team belts that night, and I got to snap a quick picture. In the top right, you can see me giving a fist bump to another wrestler, James. But he got to call me. Frankie called me into the ring that night. Excuse me. And that was very special, just to kind of show everybody that I'm there, for the first time after everything, and that I'm back. And wasn't expecting him to do such an awesome thing, but as I said, it's become a true second family at the wrestling show. They're actually doing an event for me. Not trying to promote it too much, but April 23rd at my high school, Frankie set up an event as a night for me just to honor me and that I'm coming back from it all. And as I said, I can't thank him enough. They've become a true second family and are a true second family. So it's kind of cool to be able to hold those belts. So
Yeah, it is. It's amazing how everybody's coming together in support of you, and
yeah.
you're doing your best to support others. I mean the ones that are younger than you and stuff like that. So I think that's huge. It shows
And
a
it's
lot
not
about your
even
character.
yeah, and I mean it's not even like there's people that weren't there that are doing stuff like this. And it's just I mean, I've said it all along that it shouldn't have taken such a bad event to see all these positives and how the
Bingo.
community has grown. But at the same time, we're using it to make us better, and we're becoming stronger and better as a community. So at least it happened, but we're turning it into a positive, and that's the main thing.
You just said something that was like so beyond your years. I know. You get that from your mom. I know. But it's just, I mean, it's I, what a positive way to look at this. It's a
Yeah,
shame that it took something so tragic to get us to come together. Maybe that's the simple message of all of this. Maybe we got to start working together now without having to have this.
yeah. I mean, back in the day, especially, how you could walk up to another guy on the street corner. Hey, how you doing? I mean, we just didn't have that nowadays, or don't have it nowadays in some places. But I feel like Waukesha is the polar opposite of that. I mean, as I said, we've overcome something that should have knocked us down, arguably, but I mean, we've come back stronger. That's the main thing. Is that, as I've said, we've turned it into a positive, and we should have turned it into a positive, and we are.
Yeah, and I know this is, I tend to have a very political show too and stuff like that, but this is a situation that transcends ideology. I mean, you've got a community, regardless of background, ideology, anything that supports you guys, that all agree this was a travesty, a tragic situation. There's not, it's, I guess, kind of unifying in that respect as well. I hope we take something, I hope it can grow into something better eventually.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
So
think it
I'm
will.
gonna. All right. So now we got a picture with you with a Cardinals jersey.
Yeah. So this is kind of my one of my personal favorites through the recovery process. Um, JJ Watt, obviously, as many know, Pewaukee native and Wisconsin native. I was lucky enough through a local news anchor, Lance Allen, and a friend of ours. He was able to get in contact with JJ because of a quote in my bio on all my social media, one of JJ's quotes. He reached out to him, and Lance was able to get JJ to send me a video. this was on the Thursday morning when I was in the hospital. So Thanksgiving morning, I got a message from arguably the greatest defensive player in the NFL currently, who reached out to me, and he said, obviously, it was tough it was tough and what I had gone through, but he wanted to cheer me up and send me a care package. And a couple weeks later, I got the signed jersey, which is very cool. I'm actually getting that framed right now. He sent me a hat along with it and a huge flag that I don't know what to do with yet. But it goes to show that there's celebrities or professionals out there that don't forget where their roots are, and where they've come from. I mean, JJ has done a lot for the community. He did stuff down in Houston when Hurricane Harvey went through. He's got his JJ Watt Foundation. He paid for, I do believe, all 6 funerals from the
Oh,
parade.
wow.
And just to take the time out of the day to send something to a kid, I mean, I can't thank him enough for it and all the gratitude that he's given back to his hometown. It's awesome to see that he hasn't forgotten his roots and how great of a guy that he is.
Good for him. It's nice to see there's still some humility in the NFL. Hard
Yeah,
to find sometimes. That's
yeah.
great.
He's definitely one of the best they got and one of the best defensive players right now.
And you have a picture, thumbs up. You have the jersey. Who's that with you? A gentleman with you? You're both thumbs up.
Sorry, I'm a little delayed still.
Oh, okay. Yeah, folks, in case you're wondering, he doesn't see what I'm seeing until he's watching it on another
There we
feed.
go. Now
Yep.
that's actually Lance Allen, who is the news reporter from TMJ that came out to do an interview with me and to promote the JJ stuff. And as I said, that's something that Lance didn't even have to do, and he took time out of his day to do that to help me and cheer me up. And it's awesome to see what all these people have done to really promote positivity in the world. I mean, it's something that, as I said, you know, we weren't expecting or nobody was really expecting, but it's awesome to see that I got a lot of close people like that in my corner that are really supporting me through this, and it's special to have.
Well, there's an old cliche that says, "To whom much is given, much is expected." You realize that we're expecting a lot of you now.
Yeah, I mean, we're never given anything more than we can handle. So, as you said,
Yep. So so far so good. I'm expecting good things out of you. So you're 17 years old right now. When are you 18?
correct. October, I turned 18 in October.
All right. So this is the first year you get to vote. Awesome. And we won't go into that. So, and then now here's a picture of you showing you're on Inside Edition. So you were on their
Yeah. So,
newscast and showing your
um,
scar.
yeah. So, one of the other big stories that we did, we got to meet another family of the extreme dance team, the Olivia and her parents, Nick and Jennifer. Um, and during that interview, when they were separately interviewing me and my mother, I did show off my scar there. Um, Obviously, that's something that's become a part of me now through it all, and I have had some inspiration to actually turn that into a tattoo. Um, Actually, Mrs. Sparks and my mother really were two instrumental people in that. And my biggest idea that I want to take with it is to do kind of like a growing tree or a big oak tree is what I'm looking for. And I had put a post out there with that picture to kind of ask people, who are good artists around the community because I wanted to be community done. That's actually my mother took eyeliner and kind of did a rough sketch of what we were kind of wanting.
Well,
Um,
we aren't grading artwork today, so don't. That's all right.
but yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a part of me for the rest of my life. When every time I take my shirt off, and I wanted to, really turn it into something positive, and I think I can do something special with that. Obviously, a tattoo is permanent; it's going to be a part of you forever, just like that scar. But I think that I can really turn it into something positive and sentimental and true, something
Mhm.
true to show that I've overcome this. And yes, it might be a part of me, but I ain't gonna stay down the whole day. I'm gonna come right back up and get right back at it.
Awesome. It's such a great spirit you have. I tell you, it's like you when you connect with somebody and you just know how genuine someone is, and that's what I liked about you when I saw it. It's like it's like I gotta have you on my show. You just had this, and when you showed me your scar, you were like so so. I mean, I hate to use this word, but you were so proud of it. It's like, look at this.
Well, when we were in the ER that night, I'll tell you, I had actually refused surgery with how crazy I was being. I didn't want surgery or anything like that, and all the nurses and doctors come in, and chicks dig the scars. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So they took me down, and that's the last thing I can remember until waking up Monday is them telling chicks dig the scars, and so
Oh
um
wow, you,
that influenced me.
I love it. It's I don't know. Well, that's good. I mean,
It is
you've
what
got
it is.
it is what it is. But I like that you're going to turn it into something. And you hear a lot of people who have been in tragic situations who will take a scar and turn it into some tattoo of some sort and all that. So
Yeah.
it's great that you have that mindset.
Yeah, and another inspiration, if you don't mind me going into it, there's a professional baseball player named Johnny Gomes. He played for the Red
Mhm.
Sox for many years in the Rays, and I've kind of started to kind of compare or relate to his story. He was in a car accident in high school and lost his best friend, and
Mm.
he almost lost his life on Christmas, probably 2005, I do believe it was, when if he would have gone to bed, he would have lost his life because of a heart attack that he was having at the time. Um, so just to see that other people have gone through it and kind of some sports idols of mine, that's really been cool to relate to and know that I'm not the only one going through it. And he's actually got some full chest and back pieces and sleeves and as you said, that's the big thing that I want to do is actually do it for the sentimental reason and not just to put ink on my body, but to actually have a reason behind it and to show that positivity that I've taken out of it.
Yeah, I think I've changed my perception of tattoos over the years too, with more and more people that I've met that actually they're trying to tell a story of whatever something important in their life, whatever it is, and it's like, oh, that makes sense, that kind of thing. I still won't do it because I hate noodles, but that's a whole nother conversation. But more power to you. I'll live
Yeah.
vicariously through you. So, what does the future hold for Tyler? What's Tyler Pudleiner planning on doing? I mean, you're in your junior year now, so you've got one more year of high school
Yep.
and everything. So, what's next?
I mean, one of my biggest things that I got going on this upcoming summer is I pit for a local race team at Slinger Speedway. Conrad Morgan, who's a racer there, six-time champion. And he's become a close friend the past couple of years and a real mentor of mine. I can't thank him and his wife Lisa enough. They were very supportive. They came out almost every day at the hospital, and they've been really supportive through the process. So I'm looking forward to this summer and racing. Hopefully, if the MLB can figure out what they're doing, I look forward to playing baseball and watching that this summer. But that's a whole other story, also. I'm actually I'm creating an idea to start a sports podcast coming up with. So that'll be cool to figure out. I'm working on that. Something down the road.
And like I said,
As I
I
said
can help
earlier,
you with the tech for that.
yeah, I'd appreciate that. I know we talked about that before. That'd be awesome. Um, Another big idea that I said I've had is to write a book or something, that I can help the community with. I want to do something, a book or, something like that along those lines, or even like a big post or something to really show my support for the community and to possibly even help other people, go that are going through this get better and become stronger and to really show that they're not alone.
Well, ab- ab- absolutely. I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you guys are having these events coming up. The one in a couple weeks here.
Yeah.
Um, make sure you get that information to me because I'll put it out there. Like I said, and this is not political. Even our website is political. I'm an editor for the Wisconsin Conservative Digest, but I'll hand it over to the folks at Wisconsin Right Now and everything like that too, so they can. So hopefully they'll promote it as well, so we can just get people out there. This is a good thing. So
Yeah.
I'll put an ad on our site or parisprocopis.com. I'll also put it up there so it can help promote
Thank
it a
you.
little bit.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. As you said, it's not about, trying to get as many people here to see this or that or, eat chili or whatever. It's really about bringing that new Waukesha Strong family and the community impacted together and really show everybody that when we come together, we're stronger, and we're going to have that bond, as you said, for a very long time. And it's going to be a special thing that I really want to emphasize to everybody and show that we got each other's back now, and we're going to be, good for the long run.
I love the attitude. Well, before we part company here, any final thoughts on what you want people to take away from all this?
I mean, as I said, it's been a crazy past couple months, and it's something that one would never expect. I mean, I've heard people that have told me that, you compare it to 9/11 or, other major shootings or things like that. My high school career personally has been an interesting one with a school shooting my freshman year and then COVID wiping out my sophomore year. And now this when everything was, kind of getting back to normal. But as I said, it's something where you don't think these things are going to happen to you, but it's how you come back from them. As I said, you aren't dealt anything that you can't handle. And I think the biggest thing that I can say is, a lot of us are more stronger than we know. That's been one thing that my mother's been telling me through this whole process, and the support of just friends and family through it all has been something that I really appreciate. And the biggest thing I can really get to is just the positivity and how we got to help each other and stay together.
Well, be thankful to mom too, because take to have her go through what she went through as well. It takes incredible strength.
Yeah.
As
Um, Another thing that I wanted to highlight was next Friday. I know we didn't really want to get into all the political stuff, but next Friday is the next court appearance um, for the accused driver. And I have started a movement to wear blue for Waukesha, any blue shirt you might have, or Waukesha strong gear if you have it, any type. And it's something that I'd started to just kind of show that, we got all this, let's bring it together and show that we are one. But I think now over these past couple of hearings that it's become something that it's a new part of us. And I think having that Waukesha strong gear or blue on is a way that we're going to show him that we are stronger. As you said, it's something where we're taking a positive element and throwing it at that negative event and really showing that we're going to be stronger than him. We're going to come out of the event and night stronger. And I mean, it's just, I want to really create a positive for the entire community.
Yep, not let him take it away. And it's one of those things for two reasons. I'm not uttering the name of the individual because one, he doesn't need that type of
Recognition.
recognition, infamous memory, whatever. But for two, we are in a country of laws, and innocent until proven guilty is one of the central tenets. Everybody gets their day in court. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And but with you, I know I sense good things for you going on in the future. Um, you know, it's very humbling to meet you and having to go through this. Once again, it brings closer. That's why I wanted to interview you in this format so other people can get to know you, but also get a connection that this is the human side of this tragic situation. You
Yeah.
hear people got hurt, people died, somebody did this disastrous deed, but you don't really get that personal connection with it. You've given that personal connection, and I thank you for being willing to share that.
I haven't even apologized to you yet for just showing off my scar that night at the pet store. I mean, I mean, as I
I
said, it's something.
I think it's great. I was like, here's this guy who probably wanted, you would think, and I don't know, I've never been through anything like that. The only scar I have is from a bicycle accident when I was 10, and it's right in my eyebrow, so no one can actually see it, even though it's there. You know, hey chicks,
Yeah.
do you dig the scar? No, but I love that. That was what movie was that? The Replacement. Remember? Do you ever
Yeah.
see The Replacements? When there's like that
Yeah.
was his words. It was a chicks dig scars and
Yep.
glory to the finest or something like that. I don't remember. Keanu Reeves.
As I said, I was just lying there, and I said, I don't want surgery or whatever. And my mother, you're getting surgery, and everything. And that's the way they convinced me. Chicks take the scars. I'm like, sure, let's go with it.
Yeah. But in the end, I mean, we are all going through our lives and it puts stuff into perspective. First of all, I have children that are your age, a young son who's a year younger than you, and two daughters who are a little bit older than you. And also, we all have our day to day problems and stuff like that. And people, you've got to just remember it can always be worse. You never
Yeah.
know when something will change your day just like that.
At the same
Uh,
time, though, I mean, another big thing that I can't stress that I've kind of been lucky enough to have is I said such a great support system through, my family, neighbors, the local community in general, athletes, and everything. Just my amazing support system. The biggest thing I can't stress is to anybody going through, having a crappy day, going through a traumatizing event. You need to get help. Um, Reach out to a friend, reach out to family, reach out to your community, anybody. Just pick up the phone. It's something that I feel like we can all really work on, and it's something that's going to keep us happy and healthy in the end. Mental health is, as I said, something that it's no joke.
yep.
And something that's come out of this entirely. As I said, it's kind of I'm at a point in my recovery where I've probably 95% or so gotten past the physical burdens and everything like that, and it's more focusing on the mental side. So it's something where
Yeah.
I want to stress that if you're going through something, you need to get the best help that you possibly can.
Yep. Well, those mental scars will be with you as long as that scar is there on your belly. I mean, it is what it is. So make that lemonade.
Yeah.
It's now physically you're good. Do you have any issues in that regard? Will you have to have any other surgeries, or is it all were they able to piece everything together again?
Yeah, as I said, it was technically one big surgery as they kept me sedated overnight, but
Hmm.
technically two if you want to get technical when they took me down and everything. That was the one big surgery that I've had. I don't have any more scheduled. And I mean, there's other victims that are still going through surgeries and have surgery still scheduled like
Hmm.
months out. And it's crazy, but at the same time, I think it's something that we're all going to go through at one point, but we're going to show ourselves and the rest of us that we're stronger. I mean, as I said, I'm kind of at a point where I'm going through the physical, or I'm past the physical, and I'm battling the mental. But there's still people, you know, that are going through the physical parts and working on that. And it's something that's going to, as you said, going to be in our lives forever, and that we're going to still be working through months down the road. And it's unbelievable, but at the same time, it's something that I just want to be able to help everybody with and really keep the community in a safe place and bring us and keep us all together, through it all and keep that family together.
Well, we'll be following your story as we go along here, and obviously the story of some of the other folks as well who have gone through this. Like I said, I know the grandmother of one of the other young victims as well, and our victims, survivors. I don't, yeah, and that's, we've talked about that already, but you're people just like everybody else, and you're showing incredible strength by what you've gone through. And like I said, I'm very humbled and honored that you're willing to share some of your time with me, and ultimately my audience is that depending on how many people end up watching this, it's usually a few hundred to watch it after the fact as well, not always live right away.
Yeah, it's been an honor to be on the show. I can't thank you enough for, allowing me to put out my message and really just continue to, create that positive energy and really get out, the right message of, we're going to be strong and positive and, you know, come out of the situation better.
I'd love to. At some point, I'll have you back on the show. I'd love to get a young person's perspective. I mean, you're on the verge of voting, and this is more of a political show. I'd like to get your perspective, even if we disagree, too. I don't even know. And that's one of those things I think to your generation, what I say, hopefully there's some of your younger friends watching. It's not about you'll hear the saying, oh, people should never discuss religion and politics. No, they should learn how to. If somebody agrees, great. If they disagree, you're not enemies. In the end, just different perspectives of the same data.
And as you said, it's similar to the event. It's to where, yeah, some people might not
Mm-hmm.
believe that, as you said, to talk about that stuff, but at the same time, it's something that's going to help with. I mean, we've all had differing views of what happened that night, or different stories, but at the same time, in the end, just like as you said, talking about your different political views, it's all one big story and one big connection, and it's something that I think that the world has started to work on, especially our city, coming out of this event. But I think it's something that we're all improving on, which is a good thing. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope that some people may have tuned in or will eventually tune in and hear your story who may not bear the physical scars, but still bear the emotional scars.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it wasn't easy to watch on television. And the most moving video of that whole thing that I saw, I mean, yeah, you can see the vehicle going through, but there's this one of this little girl in a pink snowsuit,
Yeah, and he
and the
drove
car,
right, and he goes right past her. Yeah.
it missed her
Yeah.
by literal inches,
Yeah.
right in front of her mother or father or whatever. But I just
Yeah.
like, I can't, I can't imagine what those parents are feeling, even though they didn't lose someone, but having been so close. So everybody's got scars from this.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, even though um some of us were a little bit more lucky than others, it's still something that, even for the lives of the loved ones that were lost, I mean, I have connections to some of those families, as I said, and it's something to where we were all impacted. I mean, even if you lost a loved one, you're battling that. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the main thing is, even if you were injured, you're still grieving, and we all grieve in different ways. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something where we all have to be understanding of each other, but still at the same time come together to help each other.
Yeah, you're very articulate for someone your age. It gives me hope for the future. So that's always a good thing. Hey, who knows? Maybe we'll see you running for governor one day. You know, that kind of thing. Anything's possible. But
I won't
yeah,
make any promises, but you never know.
yeah, politics is dirty. You don't want to get into it. But you
Yeah.
can always. I'd love to help you get your show started and stuff like that. You want to have an automotive show or whatever you're going to talk about, or sports. You mentioned sports too.
Yeah,
Um,
sports. Yeah.
uh, you've got a great future. You're a great talker. You're able to put a sentence together, which is always half the battle, and you're very well spoken. So I think that's awesome. Well, at any rate, we are now at about an hour. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me and joining us. I think we'll definitely follow your story. I'm trying to put together a feature article. I don't even know where to begin. There's so many different directions we can go with this. And we'll continue to keep an eye on you. And then obviously reach out to me, obviously, when you want to start talking about going live, doing a broadcast or something like that. It's easy to do.
Definitely.
I can show you all on how to do it. Um, but get out there, encourage more kids to do stuff like this. Creativity, it's communication. Even if they're going to go into basket weaving, you still got to be able to communicate, and I think that's important. So, all right, well, good luck with the rest of your school year, and I'm sure I'll talk to you before that. Say hi to your mom. She put up with me back in the old Kinko's world, back in wow, that was so long ago. Thanks for making me feel old, Katie. So um, it's not old. It's chronologically gifted. Don't you forget
You
that.
just
All right.
I like to tell everybody now, some of my elders that I've gotten to meet, you're seasoned, you're more wiser, and everything. And
I'm just a wise ass, but that's a whole different conversation. So I love your effervescent spirit. That's a good thing. Don't
yeah,
ever lose that. All right. Well,
yeah,
thank you, Tyler Pudleiner. Yeah, I pronounced it
yeah,
right.
yeah. Thank you for having me on. It's been a true
Uh,
honor to be a part of it, and thank you for allowing me to share my story.
no problem. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Tyler. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. That was Tyler Pudleiner, special guest. Once again, survivor, not a victim. and a silver lining coming out of all this. And remember, pay attention to the comment thread and everything like that. Share this video with your friends so people can see the story of how people can overcome tragic situations like this. I can't say enough how humbling this is. You know, me, I'm outgoing, whatever, everything like that. It's just like, it's great to see such a positive outlook on life from someone so young. All right. Well, anyway, folks, tune into my show. I'll be doing a couple shows. There's a whole lot going on in the world today, but I don't want to use this video for that format. So, but I definitely will be back. Get out there, take care of each other, and we got a lot going on in the world, and just hold your loved ones close, and remember, no matter where you go, there you are. And stay sassy. Talk to everyone soon. Bye. Have a good one.